What else did I do?
Is there much in terms of the way of like, shit, I am gonna have to redo this all the work that I did today? Like, is that pretty typical? Not for, I mean, obviously people wouldn't do it right, but is that like something that
There's a
happens
lot
often?
of rework.
I've done a lot of rework.
There's a lot of rework.
Yeah.
Your own rework?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've set
Yeah.
the same pipe a couple times.
Or sometimes contractors are coming in to redo all the work for another contractor. I remember there's this one job I worked on when I was helping out in estimating. It was this contractor. They just went belly up midway through a project. They're probably 60% complete doing a road reconstruction in Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
So they just go belly up mid-project. All their equipment was still there. That's how belly up they went.
Holy cow.
All the equipment
They're
was
just like, company over, bye.
materials, like everything was just on the job still.
That's a vibe.
But they pull the bond.
Huh.
And so they have to go rebid the whole project, go all the way through the process again. So you have to come in and basically bid the work and also, okay, what's here and what is here that's correct.
Yeah.
And what needs to be all redone.
Cow.
So say it was like a $10 million project. The new bid after they were already 60% complete was probably like 12 million, 14 million.
That's crazy.
Because most of it had to be torn out and redone. So most of their work was complete nonsense.
How long does it take on a project like that to just go through what had been done and be like, that's right, that's wrong, that's right, that's wrong?
It was a process.
I was going to say that's not just like, I'll write out there this afternoon and then we'll kind of know for tomorrow. That's its own project.
Yeah, it was a bigger project. So it took a while to figure out just what there was to begin with.
And then it becomes an additional 2 to 4 million just to clean it up to get back on schedule.
Yeah, well, now your schedule's all messed up now and materials all over the place and traffic control's a mess. So it's not as simple as just, we'll pick up where they left off because it was just a disaster.
But you can't even trust that where they left off was the right place. Like,
yeah, exactly.
All,
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they had like the road. It was a lot of drainage improvements.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd be going through a wash, and the road would just follow the contouring and would go right through the wash.
Yeah.
And so they had live traffic going through the wash like they had it originally, and then right next to it, they were setting boxes to then put the road over the wash. So they had just half-finished box culverts, basically at the level of traffic, if that makes sense, that all had to be pulled out.
Interesting.
Because they weren't set right.
Yikes.
Expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of rework.
Expensive.
There's a lot of rework.
Expensive.
A lot of rework, a lot of compaction problems,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of pipe problems.
People are bad at compacting things.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, when you were talking about like doing your own rework, does that come from like you said, you laid pipe and then you go to like check it and be like, turns out I did that wrong, I need to redo it? Or is it somebody else came and reviewed it and said that's not right? Like
the one scenario I could think of was like they tasked me with going and putting a sewer line in. And I was like, hey, so like I've never put in a sewer line by myself before. Not sure if I have this all buttoned up, but we'll give it a shot. So don't expect the best. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You can do it. And I went out and did it. And it was like way off. And they were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I warned you.
I specifically
you were supposed
told
to
you.
send somebody out to help me with this.
I did my best, and but it wasn't the best.
And then we pulled it out. We put it back in. The guy that they sent to help me wasn't great. It was wrong again. And they were like, well, this is bad. So then the owner came down and helped me put it back in. And by the time we did it the third time, I was like, I've got sewer set the rest of my life. I'm good to go on sewer now.
Yeah. Very rarely, though, is it, you screwed up. You're like, okay, that's a job well done. And then they come back and bust you. The inspector, or they'll go pressure test you and it's a bust. And then you have to go figure out, all right, who did the valve wrong and megalog wrong or whatever it is. It's, there's good construction, bad construction. And there's a lot of bad construction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of it's like laziness.
Yeah, it's a lot of laziness. Oh, well, laziness, one, or just not knowing how to do it correctly, two. Yeah. Like, there's no training. No. There's no way on, here's how to properly, like we're talking about, how to properly use a megalug. Yeah. Like, there's no training on how to do that correctly. It's just, you're doing it out in the field, and you better hope you do it right the first time.
Yeah.
Well, Other than just like money and time, why do you think that there's such little tolerance for like mistakes on the job in those sorts of ways? Is it just because it's expensive?
Expensive or liability?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I was talking about yesterday when we were doing our live podcast practice. There's an increasingly smaller and smaller and smaller tolerance for any kind of mistake whatsoever. And we're basically teaching people that making mistakes is not tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a key way of learning how to build stuff effectively, I feel like. And we're not allowing for that. And we're just expecting everybody to do it right all the time or else you're fired, which doesn't make sense from a workforce standpoint because you can't go hire people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to be firing people right now.
Right.
But it's kind of ironic because that's probably not how they learned. I guarantee you they have a long list of mistakes they've made.
For sure.
But you can't make them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to cost me money or potential liability.
Well, and especially those people that are saying like, well, I don't make those mistakes anymore and nobody should be making those mistakes. Like, I'm sure there's a little bit of like, it doesn't, like you're saying, it doesn't even matter about my own personal background because now it's costing me money and like, I don't want anybody else to do it.
Well, yeah. And the industry is just different. Like it's pushed down by like GCs, project owners, a lot of times like zero tolerance mentality, which I think is good. Everybody should be safe.
Well, yeah, you also want to you also want the work to be done correctly and like everybody's trying to do it the best they can for the most part. I mean, of course.
Yeah, but I think it's counterintuitive. I think you you discourage risk taking, you discourage learning. Everybody's just trying to play it as safe as they possibly can, and everybody loses at the end of the day. I went to a project one time where a guy backed skid steer into something, scratched it a little bit, just straight to jail, fired.
Really?
Yeah, right there.
Right away.
Right away.
Wow.
Right
Straight to jail.
Right away.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, jail.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, just fired right there.
Damn.
Not even, okay, so have we acknowledged the mistake? No, you're done, buddy.
Huh.
Get the hell out of here.
Not like you're not running equipment anymore, but just like out of here.
Yeah, you're just fired. Yeah.
That's an easy way to build your own workforce too. You know, just anytime anybody makes a tiny mistake, get out of here. I don't need you.
Everybody's looking around like, why can't we develop our workforce?
I fired them all.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm
You're fired. You're fired.
Yeah. Damn.
Eric, in your experience, like working in the field, if somebody that reports to you, like they make like a mistake like that, maybe what's like the bad version of responding to that and what's like a more healthy, probably useful version of that?
The bad version would be throwing my phone and hard hat in the direction of the cab of the machine.
Yeah.
Wherever they're sitting.
Because that ends up being more about you. It's like, I am very frustrated or whatever, but like, I can't keep my own shit together.
I feel like
I'm mad at you.
I feel like it helps me get my point across.
Sure. Well, it's all the tool.
When my hard hat makes contact with your nose.
Well, if it works well, it's great.
But then that's a safety write-up. You're not wearing your hard hat.
He should have had his door closed.
Sure.
So I guess the proper procedure would be, hey, I messed up. What do we do? And it's like, okay, well, we can fix this. No biggie. Where it becomes an issue is like, hey, I fucked up for like the 9th time today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe this isn't the right line of work for you,
I
buddy.
backed over the 5th.
Or just like you're clearly undertrained, underqualified to be doing the work you're doing.
Yeah. It's like I can only lead you to water so many times before you accidentally drown.
Yeah, but I feel like foremen also, they're not taught how to lead.
Yeah.
So they don't view that as a reflection on themselves first.
For sure.
First, it's a reflection on you. Have I explained this clearly enough? Because obviously it's not being understood. How can I do better to explain this more clearly? Or put this person in another position where they potentially are better suited for. Like maybe they just don't get, hey, look behind you before you back up in a loader.
Yeah.
And then if it's really not working, then you can obviously get rid of people that aren't working out. But I feel like there's a lot of steps in between that are completely skipped right now in today's workforce.